dear devotees, a very, very warm welcome to our Sunday program at our Krishna Temple Zurich. Someone here for the first time? Welcome. Welcome to all of you. Then I will shortly mention what our usual Sunday program is. Now from 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock we will have a presentation, a talk on Krishna consciousness philosophy. At 5 o'clock there will be a vegetarian feast. 6:15 a guided meditation. At 7 o'clock a temple ceremony, and from 8 o'clock onwards we will have more singing of mantras and kirtan. And for today's talk we have here His Grace Harikatha Prabhu. Please welcome him with a big Hari Bol. Those who visit here regularly, you have seen him. He is originally from Croatia and in practicing Krishna consciousness since 2009. And he's a disciple of His Holiness Niranjana Maharaj. And he's serving here in the temple in different ways. You might have seen him in the shop. He's also organizing our meditation workshops on Sundays. He's also giving workshops on our school, College of Vedic Studies, and he's working in the IT section. And he has brought today a topic, Don't Panic, from 42 to Krishna. So we'll be excited to what it will be. Before we start, braucht jemand eine deutsche Übersetzung?
Ja. Wenn ich alleine bin, dann muss nicht unbedingt sein.
Sicher.
Ich verstehe kein Englisch.
Manu, möchtest du? Wir geben dir eine deutsche Übersetzung. Und then I please request everyone to come more closer, and I wish you a happy Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining today for Sunday Feast. Before we start, we shall try to invoke auspiciousness by trying to meditate on all the previous saints in our Bhakti Yoga tradition. So we will chant some invocation mantras. Those of you who know it, you can chant with me, and then we will jump into this really weird topic. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, so welcome everyone. We already saw that there is a couple of you who are here for the first time. And I want to ask you first question. Is there any one of you who is familiar with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Have you ever heard of this book? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm starting to become really worried that my message will not come across since only 3 of you know the book. All right. So I will try to walk you through it, and then hopefully we'll get to somewhere. So Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a book written by Douglas Adams, and it's fairly well known in maybe I would say 70s, 80s. I don't know if it started even earlier as a radio show. Oh, can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Is it loud? Okay. So it's basically a comic science fiction novel, and it started by being broadcast on the radio, and people were tuning in and listening to this, and then later on it became a book. And it was a science fiction novel about absurdity of life, about the universe, and basically everything. So that's what the title says. And the story begins with a main protagonist or main hero of the book called Arthur, and he's just ordinary Englishman who discovers that Earth is just to be destroyed in a moment. Can you imagine that? You're making morning tea, and then you just learn in 2 minutes' time Earth will be destroyed. And it will be destroyed because it needs to, there is a hyperspace bypass that needs to be created. And this bypass is like a motorway bypass or highway bypass. I don't know if you ever heard about bypasses. If not, hopefully you can see the image. I don't know if everyone can see this. It's a little bit far for. Should we turn the monitor a bit so everyone can see? Just a little bit, yeah. So this is a bypass, and now imagine on a, imagine on a cosmic scale, someone is building a big hyperspace bypass, and Earth so happens to be on the way of this bypass, and it needs to be destroyed. So this alien race called Vogons, which really weird name. This is not important. The name is not important. They are like civilization who are bureaucratic construction workers, or better said, destruction workers. So they go throughout the whole universe and they demolish things after they, go through all the bureaucratic paperwork. And they look like this. And I found quite funny that Douglas Adams, who wrote the book, you can all see, that he chose, to depict this Vogon race as bureaucratic and, overly complex rules. They're constantly bringing those overly complex rules. They have this official jargon. They have lengthy procedures. They make things difficult for no reason. Everything is very rigid and frustrating. But then when it comes to execution of the plan, they just go ahead and execute this plan, even though it is very reckless or inconsiderate to anyone else. They basically behave like they own the whole universe. Does that remind you of anyone? So, and that's one part. And then the next part is these Vogons, they come with a spaceship in Earth's orbit, and they have very big loudspeakers, and they start to broadcast the message. So everyone, can you imagine, just the spaceship now is in the orbit, everyone can see it in the sky, and they all of a sudden turn their sound system and you can hear the message. And the message goes like this. People of Earth, your attention please. This is Prostetnik Vogon Yelts of Galactic Hyperspace Planning Council. As you will no doubt be aware, the plans for development of the outlying regions of the galaxy require the building of hyperspatial express route through your star system. And regrettably, your planet is one of those scheduled for demolition. The process will take slightly less than 2 of your Earth minutes. Thank you. And in 2 minutes' time, Earth is destroyed. Now, back to our Arthur that we mentioned at the beginning. Arthur is saved in the very last second by his long-term friend called Ford that ends up being actually also alien. And he was a researcher for famous interstellar travel guide called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So he was alien posing as regular Earthling, and he became friend with our main character, Arthur, and he saved him very last minute. How he saved him? He actually, forgot to put the message so that you can see the list. He had a system to pull him into this Vogon spaceship, and they both ended up in this spaceship. So Earth is destroyed, and they are in this very ugly-looking spaceship. And their adventures just begin, right? So I know this is a very bizarre story that I'm telling you right now, and I can see many, many confused faces. But are you still with me? Or is it so out of this world that you cannot follow what I'm saying here? Okay. So they start their adventures, and they will go throughout the whole universe, and they will meet so many different people. They will even meet a very narcissistic and egotistical president of the galaxy called Zapod Bibelbrox, very weird name. And, oh, wrong picture. This is him. And they will also meet a depressed robot called Marvin, who is like the smartest of them all, who knows answers to everything, but he's super depressed and doesn't want to do anything. And now we are getting to the main part. So all this is just a small introduction to this really weird book. But as they proceed through the adventures throughout the universe, they will discover ancient alien records. And those records will tell them that there was before one very advanced civilization. So advanced, in fact, that at the moment of their biggest prowess or might, they created a supercomputer big as a mountain. So impressive achievement, like supercomputer big as a mountain that can basically calculate or figure out anything, and they call it a deep thought. So we have an image of deep thought here. And after they built this computer, which took a very long time, of course, time came to ask that computer the most important question they can think of, right? And after some consideration, question they asked was, what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything? So this computer started calculating, started thinking, and it continued to do so for 7.5 million years. And after these 7.5 million years, the answer to what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything was 42. So by now you must be thinking, I lost my marbles, but bear with me for one more second. I chose this story because I think it's quite relatable to the world we are living, and especially in this age of artificial intelligence that is pretty much just starting, and it's quite chaotic world. And the reason I chose this topic is because I think even though with all the might that we have, technological might, we still don't know how to ask the right questions, right? So, and we also want answers instantly. So we don't know how to ask questions, but we want answers instantly, no matter how shallow or confused our questions are. And then when we ask what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe and everything, answer will be equally empty, 42, right? That's the main idea. Now, I hope that you are somewhat on the same page with what Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is. And now I would like to offer you a different guide. So I hope you will be also equally inspired to read that book or that guide. So this world is indeed very big machine, but it is also designed by designer. And I think you all, to some degree, have that experience, that there is some intelligence behind it. And like any other machine in this world, there is always some kind of instruction manual, right? Guide, what is this machine for? How do you use it? You know, what should we do with it? And it so happens that we have that manual. It exists, and it's called Vedic scriptures, Vedas. Body of work of all knowledge is called Vedas. And then the very core of it, the very essence, or we can even say, you know, I don't have time to read through all these scriptures. Give me the gist of it. That's Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this book looks something like this. So Bhakti yoga circles, people, they already know Bhagavad Gita. They're very familiar with this guide. And this is not only a guide that will get you throughout the galaxy, not only galaxy, the whole universe, or not even universe, but whole innumerable universes. This is a book that will show you how to live our lives in such a way that we will inevitably reach our spiritual home in a spiritual sky. So you see, our world, our home is actually beyond this material world. It is in the spiritual sky. It transcends this whole material creation. Still, we need to know how to get there. We need a guide, right? So just as we have in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy main protagonist or main character, main hero, Arthur, in the same way in Bhagavad Gita we have Arjuna. And but we also have a secondary hero, and that secondary hero is Krishna. And Krishna, he is God personally present on this earth, even though many who were around him didn't even know that he is God. And he chose out of his, just to make it his pastime, he chose to be a charioteer or chariot driver of Arjuna, who is royal prince, and he is archer. And you will see that when if you search for this book, you will see that on the cover. So all this is happening some 5,000 years ago, just on the very, we can say, very last moment before war starts. And war is happening. You have Arjuna, royal prince, on one side, and you have his corrupted family members on the other side, opposing him and wanting to fight him. And at this very moment, Arjuna is becoming very, very anxious. And so Krishna will speak Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad means God, and Gita means song. So for the next 45 minutes on this battlefield, just before this horrible war starts, Krishna or God will speak this Bhagavad Gita, and with this he will illuminate the heart of his lifelong friend Arjuna. That's like opposing story to our Hitchhiker's Guide. And this spiritual dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna also will transform or guide basically every single life that it gets in touch with. So, lesson learned from the Hitchhiker's Guide from the Galaxy. We don't know how to ask questions. So what do you think? What are the most important questions we should ask that Bhagavad Gita can answer? What are your thoughts?
Who am I?
Who am I? Okay, we have who am I. Very good. Next one.
Who is God?
Who is God?
Who is material energy?
What is this material energy? What is this material world? Very good. Please.
How to become happy.
How to become happy. Wonderful. Let me try to summarize them all here. So who am I? I put another one. What happens when we die? Because we are very, very confused about that one. What is this world? What relations have I with this world? Who is God? And then maybe the most important question of them all. Who is God and how can I revive my relationship with Him and achieve perfection of life? So this will bring us happiness, perfection of life, right? That we are completely satisfied with our lives. All right, and the answer? What is the answer? It's not 42. Okay. Okay, so we'll get to the answer, but for now, let me just say that Bhagavad Gita as a whole, again, it's instruction manual on how to also elevate our consciousness and how to elevate ourselves, our consciousness from material platform to the spiritual one. So we have this slide here. Just wanted to mention that this is almost entirely based on the lecture of Kaustubha Prabhu. I was listening, and this made such, to me at least, such a perfect answer to what is the perfection of life. So in terms of evolution of motive, we have idea on how to evolve from being basically self-centered, performing just activities, what you see on the left bottom corner, karma. And we are performing these activities basically just for our own pleasure. And then how to raise that and go to the level of jnana. Jnana means knowledge, so that we cultivate knowledge, and then ultimate, when we cultivate knowledge and then apply that knowledge, that we reach to the motive of performing same activities, but this time with loving devotion towards God. So this is an evolution of the motive. And there is also a guide on how to evolve our God realization. And again, this is all written in Bhagavad Gita. You will see how God can be realized in three different aspects. You have impersonal aspect, and all these aspects exist to accommodate all different people and their desires, right? All different living entities. So we have impersonal, we have localized as Paramatma. So Brahman is impersonal. This means like energy of the Lord, energy of the God, all-encompassing energy that created everything. Then you have Paramatma. That means localized aspect of God. God being personally present in our heart, listening to our desires, everything that we desire and granting those desires. And those desires essentially boil down to two things. Either we want to approach God or we want to forget Him. why would we want to forget him? Because we want to enjoy in this material world. So if we want to do that, even for that we need to ask God to help us. Otherwise, there is no question of enjoying these material pleasures if we can constantly remember who God is, right? So, Paramatma, he's present in our heart. And then you have Bhagavan. And this is the most important aspect to any follower of the Bhakti path or Bhakti tradition. That doesn't necessarily need to mean that you need to be in this movement. You can be in any religion and you can achieve the same. Only thing this realization means is that you realize that God is a person and you try to approach God as a person. Okay, so, and then we have evolution of clarity. And here we are basically evolving from our duty. So we are performing some, we have some clarity of duty. I will explain that a little bit later. And then when we are raising our, or clearing our vision, then we can see, okay, we should cultivate knowledge, because I can perform my duty but I can still not have really any clarity. I need knowledge. So then you cultivate knowledge, and then with knowledge, you see, okay, now I know maybe I'm not this body, but there is still this emptiness. How can I fill this emptiness? And then there is this gap between knowledge and wisdom where you start to really apply that knowledge. And this gap is huge. It can be that you spend the whole life really trying to become wise, which means also in Sanskrit Vijnana. So Jnana means knowledge, Vijnana means applied knowledge, realized knowledge. And then after that we have Samadhi, or being absorbed into meditating on God in our heart. And this is then ultimate stage after that, love, where we have just pure love for every living entity, because we recognize every living entity is part and parcel of God, and ultimately we have loving relationship with God that's totally spontaneous. So why am I telling you all this? Because in Bhagavad Gita, back to our question, right? We asked, how can we revive our love? How can we revive our relationship with God? How can we achieve perfection of life? And ultimately, who is God? And Bhagavad Gita will give us so many different explanations on how you can take different parts of different yogas, and you can perform different duties or different dharmas, as you see at the bottom right. But ultimately, God or Krishna will say this verse by the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parijaya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So basically, Krishna is saying, yes, there is some duty you need to perform in this world. And performing your duty is much better than not performing your duty and living recklessly in this life. But now take all this duty, all this dharma, and throw it out the window. Because ultimately, just surrender to me, and I will take care of everything else. You don't need to fear about anything. So in simple words, if we surrender to God, God will shelter us, right? And how do we do that? Well, we are taking shelter of Krishna by chanting his names. we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is the perfect answer to all of our questions, and specifically in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy. This age is called Kali Yuga. And it's very degrading, and it will be only worse and worse. So this is the answer, but it's also very hard to practice this. So we will get to another instruction that is also given by Krishna, but later on in his other incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then we will have a full picture of that. Okay, so I just want to focus for a second on the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And in second chapter, Arjuna, our main character of Bhagavad Gita, is saying, this war is just about to begin and I'm such a mess. Krishna, please give me your advice. And he's not going to him like to get some light-hearted advice. He's going to him to hear even something that it's hard to hear, you know. But he surrendered to his friend because he recognized, Krishna, you are wise. You always have the answer, and I'm total mess. And I would even like to run away from this fight. What should I do, right? And then Krishna is going to speak to Arjuna first on the level of knowledge. So if you go back for a second to this slide. So evolution of motive. So jnana, knowledge. Krishna will first explain to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, but you're not this body. What are you afraid of? And then he will look in Arjuna's face and recognize, oh, this message is not really getting to him. He is still all confused and, okay, maybe I should put it a notch, take it down a notch and go to duty, to karma, and to duty on the all the way on the right. And I will address him through duty, and I will tell him, hey Arjuna, then just perform your duty. Because doing your duty is much better than not doing your duty. Even if you don't have yet clarity. Because when we are performing our duty, then we are starting to take control over our mind. We are starting to practice. This is first step in Bhakti Yoga, in this path of self-realization, that we start to do our duty, even though we don't have full knowledge yet. And as we do that, we are controlling slowly our mind. How? Because duty means certain obligations that you have. For example, you can be a monk in the temple, and you have instructions here that you need to rise very early. So that's your duty. Your duty is to read specific books. Your duty is to chant your rounds. Your duty is to serve the elders. So many different duties. And anyone can do those duties. So it's kind of a funny. Duty is a simple thing. Anyone can do it, because if you would put a gun on someone's head and say, do this, or I'll kill you, they will do it, right? Same thing with knowledge. If you say someone, you need to learn this by, I don't know, next Friday, or I'll shoot you, they will learn this, right? But becoming wise, that doesn't work like that, right? So we need to apply the knowledge that we learned and get some realizations out of that. So no one can force you to do that, right? So evolution of clarity. I just want to come here for a second. It's something like a glass of water. And now if you have really good imagination, you can imagine there is mud inside of this water, and it's very murky, and you cannot really see anything inside, right? And then that's the beginning. That's just do your duty, even though you don't see really ahead what you need to do. But as you progress, as you cultivate knowledge, then it starts to settle a bit, right? And then when you reach the stage of really having this realized knowledge, then this glass becomes completely clear. And that also means that you are at peace. That's what we are all seeking, right? We don't want to be disturbed. We want to have peace. We want to be actually happy, but how can we be happy if we are not peaceful? It's impossible, right? So this is peaceful state. And then, only then, through this peaceful state, you can see on the other side, and you can see, oh, actually there is a loving God on the other side, and now I can finally see Him, I can meditate on Him. And then as you start to meditate on God, on Krishna, then everything explodes, right? So this is exactly what we are doing by reading Bhagavad Gita. We are reading about pastimes. We are first getting to know God, because He is actually explaining Himself, what He likes, what He doesn't like. And then later on we have also Srimad Bhagavatam and other transcendental literature that will talk about pastimes of the Lord. And we are relishing this because if we get to this state, then we can really see that, and it becomes our treasure in our heart. And as we continue doing so, the final stage is actually where we feel love for God. That's the perfection of life. Then all the other questions are insignificant, right? All right. So, evolution of clarity. Yeah, I want to say that, again, just to come here for a second. You can have duty, but you still might not have spiritual clarity, right? Then you can have your duty, but you can still not understand who you are, or what this world is, right? And I also want to say that this is also like a stage of being obliged. You know, someone asks you to do something, you should do that, but you are not informed. Then the next stage is you are informed, but you are not yet transformed. So on the stage of wisdom, this is where transformation starts to happen, right? And this is a lifelong journey to really get there. Okay. And we can also say that Vijnana or wisdom is integrated knowledge. So to put this a little bit closer, because again, as Rasashaya Ram Prabhu said, I have IT background, so I'm always in computers, and it's super boring stuff. But I think you can all relate to the idea of that you can download some program from maybe internet or maybe on your phone, but not yet install it. And this is exactly that level of knowledge, right? And this is what we are kind of all doing here. We are cultivating our duty first, and then start to cultivate knowledge. We are downloading so many things, but we are not installing that software. And there is no question that there will be any change unless we install that software, unless we start to use that software. Right? It's a very simple idea. I hope you can follow what I'm talking about. Okay. And then maybe for the last part, before I leave some room for questions, we learned again that this is Krishna's answer, this is God's answer. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. Which means doesn't really matter what you are practicing as your spiritual practice. when you realize there is only one God, just surrender to me and try to approach me as a person. I will take care of everything else, and stop being afraid. That's the answer to the question. But how can we continuously do that? How can we continuously, we said that we are chanting Hare Krishna mantra because it's given to us that Krishna or God is present in his name. So by just saying his name, he's immediately present here. And just by associating with him in such a way, because there is no difference between God and his name, that all of this is transcendental, it transcends material nature, we are getting spiritualized by just chanting the names of God. And this is prescribed by all the saints in Bhakti Yoga traditions as the only medicine, only remedy, only answer to every question we might have. Because from this, everything else will be explained. Krishna will help you very individually to get your realizations. Right? So I cannot tell you what will happen to you. It's between you and God, right? Not between me and you. That's the idea, right? It's very, very individual. But Krishna also appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's a story for some other Sunday feast, where he wanted to experience how is it to be his own devotee. And beautiful pastime of the Lord. Only thing I want to mention is that he also wrote just 8 verses in that pastimes, and one of these verses was Trinat api sonichena. Just let me bring this. Taror iva sahishuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not accept personal honor, yet is always prepared to give all respects to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. So this medicine is given to us, but it's not easy to chant it always, right? But if we adopt this, so this is the second part, this is the secret ingredient, how we can actually always think of God by chanting his names. Only if we take ourselves in the position where we are humble. Only if we tolerate all these relationships and issues we have with so many, and acknowledging that we are also not perfect. Always giving respect to every living entity, every living being, but at the same time not expecting anything back. That's really, really tall order. But if we are meditating on this, then access to chanting Hare Krishna mantra is always open. Doors are always open, right? So we should not try to have any enemy in the world. And we should also not try to be validated by any other person, right? Let Krishna do the validation. We just try to become the best versions of ourselves, right? Which means we are trying to be loving living entities towards every single living entity. How can you try to approach God and establish loving relationship with him if you are maybe killing animals still, right? There is no question. Then it's very, you're doing basically opposite of what you are trying to practice. So this is elevation of consciousness. I'm telling you all this because I was eating meat quite a lot in Croatia. And now when I see in retrospect how I was thinking back then, a lot of these things were hidden from me because I couldn't really access it because I was in the same, how to say it, I was the part of all this suffering being caused to others, right? And then as soon as I tried to lower that, then I got more access into getting some realizations. It works like that, right? It's very simple, basically. Okay, so ultimately the point is, if I'm not humble, if I'm not tolerant, my mind will loop into analyzing what is wrong and what needs to be changed, and why is this like that, why is that like this, and why am I not being respected, why is not everyone recognizing how great I am. And when we reach the point where we can just let all that go, then we can go to the part of Kirtaniya Sadahari, which means we can absorb our mind in unwavering meditation on the Lord with pure clarity all the time. And then if we go back to the topic of growing to the stage of wisdom, again, I'm emphasizing it's only from that point where you can try to practice this, because before that, there is too much mud in that glass, in the cylinder of water, right? And then we cannot really see the object of our meditation. So that's what Bhakti Yoga is all about. That's what the message of Bhagavad Gita is. That's ultimately the message of awakening through spiritual immersion, if you like. And that's what we are trying to do with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are trying to immerse our mind into Krishna's pastimes and his form and his name. Otherwise, if this is not done, there is no deep transformation, and then the answer is always 42, right? All right, so that's everything I have prepared for today. Now we still have some 10 minutes left before prasadam will be served. I would like to give you maybe some room for questions or comments. Or yeah, please. Do we have maybe a microphone?
It's a very nice presentation, and your analogies are excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please don't be shy. I don't bite.
Can you explain, please, maybe that'd be interesting, how duty, knowledge, wisdom, and samadhi is part of love?
Sure. So this part here, right? Okay, so you can think of this. I gave an analogy of monk in the temple, but I can speak maybe from my own experience. I'm attracted by some spiritual practice, and then I'm associating with people who are spiritual. And then they tell me, you should do this and that, because that will actually be good for you. I know you want to be happy, you want to enjoy this material world, but it's better if you do this and this. This will actually make you happy in the long run. So I don't have a clear understanding where am I going, but I have some faith into maybe this spiritual friend of mine who is telling me this, not because of some other motive, then he's just genuinely concerned about my spiritual well-being. And I start to execute something out of my duty, right? So I gave an example of, if you want to practice becoming a monk here, rise very early, chant your rounds. That's duty. That's not something that I would like to do. I need to do it out of my duty, right? And then that's not enough. You need to go further. And you start to cultivate knowledge. What does that mean? That means you are trying to read as much as possible. You're trying to learn as much as possible about this topic that you're interested in, this spiritual topic. And the more and more you are going deeper, so knowledge is like, you will learn in Bhagavad Gita very quickly, hey, reincarnation is real. That's a fact. You will learn you are not this body, you are not even this mind, you are not this intelligence, you are spirit soul, part and parcel of God, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. Right? You will learn this intellectually, but what does that mean? Now I have this knowledge, and then somebody comes here and offends my body, and then I'm really disturbed by that, offended, and then I respond back out of my false ego. That means that, yes, I might have some knowledge, but it's not really internalized. It's not really applied. It's not really installed, right? I'm still looking through the prism of just knowledge, right? I know all this, but I cannot help myself. I just react like that. But when you get to the level of wisdom or vijnana, then you see that somebody offended you, but you know that this is insignificant. You know that from not in a false way, but in a deep way. Like you understand suffering of that other person. You can clearly see that this person is doing that because of conditioning of that person, and at the end of the day, it's not really offending you. It's offending something that you are really not. This body, this mind, this intelligence, right? So that's deep wisdom. And then beyond that, so if you are on that level of wisdom, then you have peaceful mind. Then you're completely peaceful. And then there is your chance that, you meditate on God fully. We also hear a lot in Bhakti Yoga circles, if you chant Hare Krishna mantra only once, there is a chance that you get completely liberated, right? Just once. Yeah, but not on the level of duty, on the level of wisdom, right? Because it's much clearer. Mud is down, you can see the object of your meditation. You can see God face to face, so to speak, right? And then love, bhakti, you cannot get bhakti on your own. Bhakti is given to you. It's like a candle. You associate with the one who has bhakti, and then you hope it will, get to you as well. That's Krishna's mercy, right? To develop love for God. That's not cheap. That's the most expensive thing, right? But that's what we all want. Because the last thing, is actually our passport to go through the whole universe, other universes, and then end up in the spiritual sky, to go to the spiritual planet where God resides, and then you associate with Him without even knowing that God is God. So there is no awe and reverence. You have just loving relationship with Him. Picture behind you, Krishna embraces you as your dear friend, and you don't even know that Krishna is God. You just enjoy that loving relationship. And you can enjoy many different types of relationship as well. So that's bhakti, right? And the closest thing when we try to explain this in this material world, because we cannot explain it, we have material brains and we are so limited here to try to explain that. But the closest thing we can get to here is love from mother for a child, because it's unconditional, right? So, but bhakti is nothing to do with this material world. It's the most purest thing you can get, right? I hope this answers your question of gradation. Or you meant something else?
No, my question was how duty is part of love. So I mean that if I love God, I have to do so many things. Yeah? So I have to do so many things because it's part of love. In relationship, if I love God, I have to know many things about God. How He looks like, what He loves, the food. Wisdom is, that you have to apply this knowledge. Yeah. So, like in relationship, your wife is not satisfied if you just know things about about relationship. She will test you, yeah. So you have to have wisdom, and you have to always focus on the person you love, because this is love. And finally, the feelings which all these things support.
Thank you, but I still don't. I don't know if I mean, I don't know what the question is.
Yeah, how these things are part of love, but
How these things are part of love? Yeah. Well, duty is not part of love. Duty, you need to do it because somebody obliged you to do this. You should rise up very early. Okay, I will rise very early. But when you're on the level of love, it's spontaneous. I mean, of course, I will rise. I will not go to sleep for my beloved. You know, I don't care about sleep. Curse you, sleep. You know, I want to be always awake so I can, you know, serve my beloved. You're thinking like that. So there is no question of duty, right? This is how I understand it. So duty is just yeah, please.
Maybe it just starts with duty. Maybe it just starts with duty.
Just starts with duty, yes.
But then the duty has to be lost. And that's like the difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga
Yeah,
Bhakti.
thank you. Yeah.
So
Is
Vaidhi
it
Bhakti
like-
has...
Sorry.
Yes.
Is it like a path to love, starting with duty? If you really don't know what exactly love is that how it is? Are they related to each other? I mean, can you directly go to love if you really know? Do you have to do all these duties? Is that what is the question?
no, but my point is that for me, duty means that I do something even if I don't want to do. If I love someone, I still have to do things I don't want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So duty is always there.
Yes,
Can I
please.
try to give what I understood?
Maybe we can give you a microphone so everyone can hear you.
So I do a practical example. I don't know if it fits, but let's say you start going to the gym, you do bodybuilding, and at first it's boring. You have to go every day, do heavy work, and you do it as a duty, because you pay the fee and you have to go now. But then eventually, after a few years, you start seeing results, and then you kind of miss it if you don't train one day. So it's giving you some dopamine or adrenaline, and it becomes part of you now. So, and you don't do it because you have to do. You do it because you see the results, you see the effects, the positive effects, and you kind of need it now. So it is incorporated in you. It's part of your life. I don't know if it's a fitting example, but.
Yeah, I think we are, on the same page. All right. Then, if there are no more questions or comments, or maybe you will...
I would have a question.
Yes, please.
So, is there also a way back if you have the consciousness of love or of bhakti or of samadhi? And is there also a way back to return to the knowledge or even below?
I'm sorry, I think I didn't... Yeah. No, I'm not sure if I got the... can you please repeat again?
Okay, so if your consciousness has once reached the state of love or absorption, can it also fall back to the normal, not spiritual world?
Aha. So if you reach maybe the highest level, can you fall down?
Yeah.
That's, no. When you reach the highest level, bhakti, no question of falling down. This is what Krishna is guaranteeing to us.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Hari Katapalu. This is a very nice little progression, as was said, and it's a progression, yet everyone is contained within the one above.
Yeah. Yeah,
That we have to appreciate. So maybe one starts with the idea of duty, doing something because it is expected, there's an obligation. When one understands why that is good, that you're in a state of knowledge, and you will now have a better idea of what you are doing and why you are doing it. And when that then manifests, as you say, actually installing the app of knowledge, it becomes wisdom, and that enlivens and enlightens the knowledge, And knowledge just seems to be much more, it's not just, oh, I learned a few facts and figures, but actually I am now seeing with the eyes of vision, real wisdom. And that then leads us to that state of samadhi, absorption, where actually the world is resonating to us in samadhi. And it is, there's no longer that type of striving to fix one's mind, to learn, to discover. Actually, you're in a state in which the world and you are resonating and you are feeling that enlightenment flowing inside. Now, for us, that enlightenment from inside is our relationship with the form of Krishna present within the heart. And then that is inspiring us with such gratitude, such appreciation, and starting to see the ultimate beauty of the personality of Godhead. That automatically the love just awakens. But that doesn't mean we've ever stopped doing whatever little duties we may have. But we're doing them in this state of enlightenment and love. Or we're still trying to learn. We never stop learning. But we find that learning is becoming expanded very quickly through our appreciation for what is the ultimate truth, our loving relationship with God. So in this way, everything becomes rectified, united, and perfected together. And it's a very exciting journey.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Akandadi Prabhu, for that. That's a beautiful, I would say, completion. So with that, I would like to invite you all for Sunday feast that actually started right now. So you can, if this is your first time in the temple, it will be served on you can go on the stairs, and upstairs they will serve free vegetarian meal. And it's actually prasadam. Prasadam means it's offered to Krishna first, and because it's offered to God, it becomes spiritualized. And then when we eat remnants of that offering, then we get spiritualized as well. So there is also this, this slide here, this murkiness inside of the glass this mud will go a little bit down as we get more and more spiritualized. So please, I invite you all to relish prasadam, and then if you can stay a bit longer, we will have a japa meditation at 6:15, right? And then we have also evening program, Gora Arati, where we, so to say goodbye to the deities on the altars for the day. And we sing to them also Hare Krishna mantra. So please stay with us as long as you can. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Praise Harikatha Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. And also thank you Harikatha Prabhu for today's talk. Now I know actually the question to 42. I only know answer is 42. I never know the question. But I'm also happy I know the answers and questions in the Gita, and thank you very much for speaking on this topic. And also one more point I want to mention. Next Friday we have a festival day. It's the appearance day of Lord Nityananda, and this is also a special form of Krishna, in a form where he shows how to love him purely, where he teaches us. We will start in the evening from 4:30 onwards. We will have talks, we will have kirtan, singing and dancing, and we will also have a feast. So please, you are all welcome next Friday, 30th January. Hare Krishna.
It's 30 minutes and that's 40. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming along today.
One of your missionaries spoke to me and he showed us some books. And I said, well, I would join your ceremonies once.
Oh, that's very good. Thank you. Enjoy this.
It was very interesting. It was just a new experience for me. I know the system, so really cool to be here.
Well done. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. Do you want to take some There are meditation processes where you would go quiet. That will give a sense of peace to the mind. The mind is always looking for the and for those who are sattvic, who have practiced meditation, it would be very natural for them to want to go to that state. But in that state, it may be peaceful, it may be quiet, it may be serene. But for the devotees, we're Christians, you know, and therefore the devotee becomes addicted to the association of Krishna in the form of the mantra. And actually we can't live without that.